On this occasion, on the Declaration of the Bab, J.E. Esselman's book, Baha'u'llah and the New Era, speaks to the glory and decline of 19th century Persia that had occupied a unique place in the history of the world. And to quote, "In the days of her early greatness, she was a veritable queen among nations, unrivaled in civilization, in power, and in splendor. She gave to the world great kings and statesmen, prophets and poets, philosophers and artists. But she had sunk to a condition of deplorable degradation. Her ancient glory seemed irretrievably lost. Her government was corrupt and in desperate financial straits. Some of her rulers were feeble, and other monsters of cruelty. Social as well as religious affairs," he elaborates, "were in a state of hopeless decadence. Education was neglected. Her priests were bigoted and intolerant. Her people ignorant and superstitious. Many," he concludes, "were eagerly awaiting the coming of a promised messenger of God and confident that the time of his advent was at hand." Such was the state of affairs in Persia when the Bab, the herald of a new era, set all the country in commotion with his message. And in one enlightened night in May 1844, as though a balm to quell the darksome turmoil of the times, these words of Shoghi Effendi. The opening scene of the initial act of this great drama was laid in the upper chamber of the modest residence of the son of a mercer of Shiraz, in an obscure corner of that city. The time was the hour before sunset on the 22nd day of May 1844. The participants were the Bab, a 25-year-old Syed of pure and holy lineage, and the young Mullá Husayn, the first to believe in him. Their meeting immediately before that interview seemed to be purely fortuitous. The interview itself was protracted till the hour of dawn. The host remained closeted alone with his guest, nor was the sleeping city remotely aware of the import of the conversation they held with each other. No record had passed to posterity of that unique night, save the fragmentary but highly illuminating account that fell from the lips of Mullá Husayn. I sat spellbound by his utterance, oblivious of time and of those who awaited me, he himself has testified, after describing the nature of the questions he had put to his host and the conclusive replies he had received from him, replies which had established beyond a shadow of a doubt the validity of his claim to be the promised Quayan. Suddenly, the call of the Mueddin, summoning the faithful to their morning prayer, awakened me from the state of ecstasy into which I seemed to have fallen. All the delights, all the ineffable glories which the Almighty had recounted in his book as the priceless possessions of the people of paradise, these I seemed to be experiencing that night. This revelation, Mullá Husayn has further testified, so suddenly and impetuously thrust upon me, came as a thunderbolt, which for a time seemed to have benumbed my faculties. I was blinded by its dazzling splendor and overwhelmed by its crushing force. Excitement, joy, awe, and wonder stirred the depths of my soul. The universe seemed but a handful of dust in my grasp. I seemed to be the voice of Gabriel personified, calling unto all mankind, awake, for lo, the morning light has broken. Arise, for his cause is made manifest. The portal of his grace is opened wide. Enter therein, O peoples of the world, for he who is your promised one is come. Not until 40 days had elapsed, however, did the enrollment of the 17 remaining letters of the living commence. Gradually, spontaneously, some in sleep, others while awake, some through fasting and prayer, others through dreams and visions, they discovered the object of their quest and were enlisted under the banner of the new-born faith. Then, says the Universal House of Justice, like a spring storm, the Bab came to purge and purify, to uproot the withered and spent customs of a wayward age, and to wash away the obscuring dust from the eyes of those blinded by illusion. But the Bab had a special object in view. He sought to prepare people for the imminent appearance of Baha'u'llah, the second of the twin luminaries, destined to bring new light to humankind. This was his most insistent theme. When the day star of Baha will shine resplendent above the horizon of eternity, he instructed his followers, it is incumbent upon you to present yourselves before his throne. And so it was to conclude that its beginnings would all happen on that holy day of May 24th, 1844, and to bespeak again these words by the Universal House of Justice. The moment of his appearance, like the appearance of all such figures, precipitated the release of powerful spiritual forces, but there was no accompanying spectacle. There was instead a late evening conversation in a modest Persian dwelling between a student of religion and his youthful host, during which that host revealed that he was the promised one, the divine educator his guest had been seeking. Observe attentively, he remarked. Might not the person intended be none other than I?